very good morning and welcome to Crossfire live on UHF 57 Wazobia Max. Today we have a bumper package for you and we'll be looking at education in 2016. We do have to say that education got a lion's share at the 2016 budget. And I'm not alone on Crossfire today. I have with me my co-anchor, Yemi Olakinto. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Yemi. Yeah. And of course, we'll be looking at education in 2016. Our guest is Rhoda Odigbo. She's an education consultant and coordinator of the Learning Craft. Before we get into main discussion on education, let's take a look at some of the stories making the headlines. And it's been quite an interesting past 24 hours. A lot of people have said that the anti-corruption drive of Mr. President and the APC is lopsided.
Of course.
They see it as a political witch hunt.
Exactly.
That they think they're hunting down perceived opponents in the PDP. But I'll tell you, the EFCC yesterday has arrested a former military governor of Kaduna State and a chieftain of APC, the All Progressive Congress, yes. EFCC spokesperson Wilson Ujaren said this man, who's believed to be an ally of Mr. President Muhammad Buhari, was picked up at his residence in Abuja for questioning over the ongoing probe into disbursement of funds from the office of the former National Security Advisor. Why did you say you think the probe, the anti-corruption drive is lopsided?
Number one, we've seen how the APC has kind of colored PDP as the most corrupt political party.
But there's a reason behind this. The PDP has been in office for the past 16 years.
And so,
have you been following the revelations of this $2.1 billion arms scandal? In other climes, is the national security they've brought down the office of the national security to such low levels. Is the office responsible for disbursement of campaign funds? And is the national security advisor a PDP official, or is it the office of the national security for Nigerians?
You know that most of these things comes down to one thing: how PDP spent money on its political campaign. You understand what I'm saying? Listen, we know that APC, even APC itself, also spent money.
Yeah, they spent money. They sourced money from donors. They didn't take money that was meant to prosecute a war. Did they take money out of the $2.1 billion?
You are not speaking.
No, I want you. Let's talk with facts. I mean, this is an educational program. Let's talk facts.
We're talking.
$2.1 billion was meant for the purchase of arms. You had soldiers dying in the war front because of lack of equipment, and this money that was meant to buy equipment for the soldiers was misappropriated. That's why we find ourselves in this kind of mess. And the APC is holding those responsible. I mean, they're not picking up. Most of the people that are answering, they're in the EFCC custody, they're singing, and they're telling the EFCC, oh, I took this money, but it was meant for so purpose. So it's not like the political, that is not, the APC is not witch hunting them. There's nothing like a witch hunt.
This is why I say it's a political witch hunt, and everybody says so. You know why? Because number one, Dasuki is in court. The case is in court, and we cannot sit down in the media and begin to crucify a man.
We're not crucifying. We're dealing with the facts that we have, the facts on ground. And the facts on ground, that is why we're making this session, because of the facts that are known.
You and I are not
the facts that are known.
You are not the judiciary.
It's public knowledge, and we're following the trial. I'm not saying they're guilty, but if they have any case to answer, they should go and answer in court. But it's a shame. I mean, revelations of 750 million for special prayers, that doesn't happen anywhere in the world. You're making excuses for corruption.
Let me talk.
By trying to defend these corrupt people that have been indicted.
Number one, you are jumping into conclusions.
I'm not jumping into conclusions.
You are not the judiciary. You understand? And this case is in court.
Okay, let's bring in Rhoda here. What do you make of all of this? I'm sure you're tired of it. It's always in the front pages of newspapers every day.
I think we need to get to the crux of the matter. And whether we like it or not, the truth must be told in the courts. Like he rightly said, we are not the judiciary, but we know what the stories are. And the stories are out there in the media, and they're clear for us to see and for us to read through. Even though they're always behind the scenes.
Okay.
There's stories behind the scenes.
But would you think it's a witch hunt?
I don't think so. I think that I don't think it's a witch hunt. I think that we have had too many ills done to our country. And people need to be booked down for it. People need to know that this is not right.
Well,
when we're talking about changing the country, and I'm not using the status quo, the mantra that was used by any party, but the truth is that whether we like it or not, whether you belong to one sector or the other, we need to change this country. We need to change our systems, and we need to change the way things have been working. And they have just not worked. Nigeria is currently very broke.
I know, we know.
And we need to get
but if we continue with your type of attitude that tolerates corrupt individuals in the name of witch hunt, we're not going to go anywhere. We are not going to grow as a country.
Nobody is saying
people are not going to learn lessons.
Listen,
but you're calling it a witch hunt.
It's a witch hunt. Why? The reason why it's a witch hunt is that look at the papers. You understand? Until recently, to me, it's medicine after death. Coming to say, okay, they've arrested a few APC guys. You know, we know that corruption is not a PDP. It's not the creation of PDP.
Course, corruption affects
they're giving
all of
us an impression that PDP is the epitome of corruption, the creator of corruption.
There's a reason.
The surname
there's
of
a reason why the searchlight
is corruption. That's the impression APC is giving us.
There's a reason why the searchlight is on PDP. Because the PDP has been in government for the past 16 years.
You are not allowing me to make my point.
Who has access to all these funds in the past 16 years? It's not the APC, it's the PDP. Who has been saddled with the responsibility of purchasing arms? Who has been saddled with the responsibility of running the affairs of the country for the past 16 years? It's the PDP.
Are you saying that APC was just sitting down? All of them are from the
they were in the opposition.
I think it's going to take some time.
They have their own government. Look, let me tell you something. APC, to tell you the truth, PDP was really party, but during the last political dispensation, APC matched PDP money for money in political campaign.
But did they take money that was...
In fact, according to reports,
taxpayers' money? Did they take money that was meant for the purchase of arms for their campaign?
Do you have the evidence? Can you sit down there and tell me that APC didn't send government money? Do you have
what government money? What government money? No, you're making an allegation. It would be nice for you to come out to substantiate the allegation. But anyways, let's move on from this story to the next.
Okay, let's go.
Something sad happened in Lagos, depending on what side of the camp you are. A popular market, a 48-year-old market in Oshodi, was demolished by the Lagos state government, and there's been accusations and counter-accusations. The traders said they weren't given due notice. The Lagos state government defended the relocation of traders plying their trade in the Ogbonifari markets within the notorious loop of Oshodi to the newly built ultra-modern Isapodowo market in Bolade Oshodi, saying the action was taken in the overall interest of the public good, safety and security. And speaking during the joint press briefing addressed by State Ministries of Information and Strategy, the Environment, the government said that they've provided an alternative. They constructed an alternative market store for the traders, which can conveniently accommodate over 600 shops, hundreds of stalls, and agreed to subsidize payment by giving shops at the new market at monthly giveaway price of 5,000 naira. Is this not good enough compensation for those that had shops in the demolished Ogbonifari market?
You see, when you look at Oshodi, when I give kudos to the former governor, Babatunde Raji Fashola, we all know what Oshodi was. It was a no-go area.
Exactly.
There are some places you can't even walk in, you know, in the day, not to talk of at night. It's either your bags will be snatched or you get stabbed or something. You know, Oshodi was a very terrible place until he came and tried to sanitize everything. And then we had this new governor.
And Governor Ambode is consolidating what he did.
It's not enough to just demolish shops. Do you understand? Look at Dubai, for instance. Do you understand? This is...
Yeah, in Dubai, you don't have those kind of shops. You don't have a situation where you have markets that are compromising state security, public good, and safety. So it's a step in the right direction. And I believe the traders were adequately notified. The first letter that was given to them was on December 18th. And then you have all this protests. Nigerians have a way of postponing the doomsday.
Yes. Well, let's not do that.
What do you make of
I think December 18, if the first notice was given December 18, we're still not yet a month away from that date. If you ask me, I think it's still too close. I think that people need to be given ample time to readjust their lifestyle. Some of these people, these are their basic network of opportunities to make money, to earn a living. And if December 18 is really the first date of notice given to them, we need to find out more about that. I think it's still too close. These are people who have managed. You see, most of these things are ills that have enveloped our society, and somehow they've, over the years, run through the system, and many people have found it, previous governments have found it very difficult to put a pinhold on some of these market activities, which they are doing right now it's a good step, but however, they need to make sure that these people are very, very well informed. I think under a month is not enough.
And then, judging by the timing, a lot of the traders were just returning from their Christmas holidays and to go demolish their shops.
Exactly.
It
might be too close. We need to find out what...
But the state government's position is that they were adequately notified.
It's not a question of notifying them. I think all this thing is just a failure of governance. Like I said...
How is it a failure of governance?
You see, look, how can you just...
You're very quick to criticize governments. How I want you to explain why you think it's a failure of government.
You just said Nigeria is broke. There's unemployment. People don't have jobs. People are suffering. And then Oshodi is a commercial center in Lagos.
They've made alternatives. It's not like they demolished the shops and they left them on the streets. The government provided alternative in the new market that was constructed just a few meters away from this
and we
notorious
hope that they will be allowed, that it won't be taken over by money bags who want to buy over the market and then resell to them.
That's exactly
There's some of these things that maybe need more clarity.
Yeah, can they afford it? Can they really, what about, they will build big, there's another shop, there are shops in Oshodi. There's a Nigerian military cantonment, I think they built some shops. A lot of these traders cannot afford. It's not as if they don't have alternatives there already.
Exactly.
There are shops, but they can't afford it. You understand? It's the failure of government that Oshodi is not like Dubai. Do you understand what I'm saying?
And then you have a government
I'm just using Dubai.
You have a government that has recognized that and is doing its best to fix the situation and have some sanity in that area by demolishing that market, because it said it's a black spot for armed robbers, and it's all in the public interest. So Rome wasn't built in a day.
Absolutely.
It's a step-by-step thing, and I think we should give government some breathing space.
Like the Lagos State government.
No, I don't hold brief for any government. We need to be reasonable.
I know we need to be reasonable, but they should come up with a plan, they should come up with a blueprint how to build up Oshodi. Make sure that everybody has a place, they have shops they can afford. People are not out of jobs, because if you get people out of jobs where they are making a living, they become armed robbers.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we should live in a lawless society with no orderliness. Okay.
I think they do have a plan, but hey, let's see.
And let's move on to this last story. This is the Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari, saying Nigeria needs technology to achieve Vision 2020. It's very interesting how our vision keeps moving. I remember when I was growing up, it was Vision 2000, it was moved to Vision 2010, it's now Vision 2020. Let's hope we'll achieve that Vision 2020 someday. President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria must accord high priority to science and technology if it must take the rightful place among the leading economies in the modern world. The president was speaking at the first meeting of the National Research and Innovation Council for the year. He was actually there present in the council chambers. The president said Nigeria's vision of becoming one of the 20 largest economies in the world by the year 2020 is only attainable when science, technology, and innovation are fully integrated into the national socio-economic development process. It's a good thing we have Rhoda here with us in the studio. This is a field. How important is science and technology in moving the nation forward? And where do we stand presently when it comes to education? What are the results saying in terms of science and technology?
Many departments or faculties of education around the country, especially in the universities, are doing so much, to bring out this, to send the message across on how important science and technology is right now. I think it's a no-brainer. I think that in today's climate, there is no way we're going to move forward without effectively involving science and technology. There's nothing else we're going to do about that. First of all, science and technology is very key to data.
Okay.
This is the way when we're able to draw data, qualitative data, then we know where to start from. It's like a springboard for us. We can account for what we need.
Statistics in order for greater planning.
Exactly, for greater planning. And it's almost as though we still are, many parts of the country, many sectors of the country, in this country are still growing.
Okay.
Not just the education sector, the health sector, in agriculture. We need to integrate technology in agriculture. No matter what we say about moving the country from this oil dependence to non-oil sectors, it is technology that
would help fast-track the
process. And it's so important. Where we are now is really we're still backward, and we need to move forward. And
but it seems a lot of, even the organized private sector, they don't give technology. Well, I'm talking about education, the students. I remember the JETS competition, and now all the reality shows you see, we've almost become a musical society. You ask a young child on the road, what do you want to be when you grow up? He wants to be the next Dibanj or the next Wizkid.
Yes.
How can we make science and technology attractive to the young ones, to our children out there? And is it just a government thing, or can the private sector and families also contribute?
I like that question that people usually throw it out. Is it a government thing? Should the private sector happen? It's multi-sectoral. It's everyone together. But the government has a major role to play.
Yes.
And it is with the government that we will reach all the numbers, all the people around, all the children around the country. Through the government, it's going to happen. Well, if you look at the science and technology itself, within the budget, they have said that they're going to sort of reduce
the school
fees
yes,
for students who want to enter into studying in
science
science
and that's unprecedented.
This is, for me, it's a plus to the government, because if it is done effectively, then you find that many people who need to get into universities without having to struggle for payment, or who have issues, who already have a natural knack for this kinds of field coming from secondary school, we'll find it easy to get into the sector. And then from there, we have grown a base, a good number of children who will become future scientists. And then that's the only way we can then get people who will move forward in learning certain skill sets that we need to drive the other sectors in the country, whether it be in technology, in mobile technology, in agriculture, even in education. There's so much.
At that point that you made about agriculture, I think I want to point out that that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't want to go into agriculture, because the technology there is just new.
As a manual labor.
Everybody, immediately talk about agriculture, everybody just think cutlasses and hoe and cutlasses.
The world has evolved
and
beyond that.
You think about basket.
No.
And really, if you still go to some of our rural areas, you find out that this is what it obtains.
No, even everywhere in the world, still we have some kind of subsistence kind of farming going on, and people still cultivating manually, what you can call manual the traditional. But then, as a country, what we need is mechanized farming and technologized farming.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we're going to make sure that food is cheap. And many people many people getting into the sector, and then they are supported by technology, it's going to make it even much more easier for them to cultivate, to dig, to plant, to seed, and then they'll be able to monitor the seasons. And with the technology helps you monitor the seasons, and then technology also helps in storage. Storage is very important.
Yes.
So how do they store their produce? It's only technology that gives you the tools
irrigation and all of that.
that you need.
Transportation, even in transportation is technology.
Yes.
I think if there is technology, a lot of people want to go to agriculture.
Absolutely.
Because they will not be thinking that they have to, be doing cutlasses and all
But why haven't we done this? I mean, it's failure of successive governments in the past. This is 2016, and just because the price of crude oil has dropped to $32 in a barrel, everybody's running helter-skelter to look for other
that's Nigeria for you now. I mean,
it's not Nigeria. It's the failure of the PDP government in the past 16 years, and we're all to blame. You're watching Crossfire on Wazobia UHF 57, and we're discussing our focus today is education in Nigeria 2016, and we have a special guest in the studio, Rhoda Odigbo. She's an education consultant, and when we come back from this break, we'll go straight into our discussion. Do stay tuned, we'll be right back.